Grow with Autoflowers. It could be good and it could be bad. Now for a lot of beginners, for some reason this seems to be the option that many take. But in this video I'm going to go over some things that maybe you should consider before growing autoflowers. Stay tuned.
Like you always do about this time.
This video is for educational purposes only, YouTube. This video is brought to you by AC Infinity. Now whether it be air control, air quality, lighting, or your tent itself, or the entire kit, AC Infinity has got you locked down, and they continue to innovate time after time again with just amazing products. Now their products go very fast, well, because they're in high demand. Supply and demand is a real thing, and when you got a supply that's as great as this, you better jump on it quick. And when you do, make sure you use CLtv at checkout and you'll save some money on your order. So if you're new here, my name is Rob and we talk all things herb. Today in particular, we're going to be talking about genetics, autoflower genetics. What is the biggest tip you have for a new grower when it comes to growing autoflowers? Let me know below in the comment section. Now, growing autoflowers can be appealing to newer growers or even those who are limited on plant count. Now, variety of reasons why autoflowers can be advantageous, and I actually have gone over these in the past in other videos, but let's just touch on a couple real quick. So with autoflowers, you don't necessarily have to worry so much about the flowering or vegging time. They're going to auto-flower automatically. Now this is typically derived from ruderalis type of plants. Essentially, they don't have your traditional photoperiod characteristics where they have a regular veg side based on the light requirements and a flowering side, also again based on those lighting requirements. In this case, the flowering is going to be 100% based on age. Now oftentimes autoflowers can go anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks from germination. So when you start that plant out from germinating it, you're going to be trimming it and harvesting it in about 12 weeks. Now, of course, there's some that'll go 49 days and you're done and it's ready to go. That's a really big thing for a lot of growers who are looking to have perpetual grows and looking to have consistent harvests. Now, the downside to this, in my opinion, is this rapid life cycle. You don't really have time to dial in your vegging. You may not have time to get the full training that you'd like to do, or let's say you utilize the scrog technique. You may not have that time to fully pancake your plant out and stretch it and tuck it and work it. When it gets to a certain age, this cultivar will flip into flower. And at that point, all of the extra training and work that you've done is going to stop. Hard stop, no more work. This is where you're at in flower. Now the impact this can have on beginners is essentially it stops you from being able to control and manipulate where you want to get that yield, or how you want to shape the plant for the end results. Now it really boils down to the cultivar, of course, and the specifics of what you're working with there. But when it really gets to the nitty gritty, if you're in there every day, you should have enough time to train that plant to get a nice quality, even canopy before you get in that flowering point. And that's where I think it's important to know your genetics. Of course, understanding your genetics, knowing that not every autoflower is made equally.
Yes, some of them are dog shit, you know.
Luckily, I had the homies at Seedsman help me with this, and you could use discount code CLtv at checkout for any of their products because they have an amazing selection and it really helped me dial in what I was looking for. Now, there's some good breeders out there who are producing some very quality autoflowers, Mephisto being one of them, Fast Buds, Seedsman, plenty of others out there who are doing their thing, but there's also a lot that aren't high quality. So make sure you're doing your vetted process before you start dropping any money, because a lot of these are just called Green Crack Auto, White Widow Auto, Blue Dream Auto, and it's not necessarily the cultivar it is, and sometimes it may not even be an autoflower.
Rip off.
So you really want to make sure you're paying attention to where you're getting these genetics from. Another thing to consider is some autos seem to be a little bit more sensitive to stress than photoperiods. Now when it really comes down to it, this all relates to that veg time. If you have more time to give that plant to recover and really get it to that healthy point before flower, the stress and the issues that you run into won't be as big of a hurdle. But once you flip into flower, there's not much you can do to slow down that stress, or potentially to give that plant enough time to bounce back from any sort of situation that it was in prior. Now the impact this can have on beginner growers is oftentimes you may end up running into situations where, let's say, you utilize photoperiod techniques, normal training techniques like topping or low stress training that may not work as well with that autoflower. Now if this occurs, you could massively hinder your yield and overall production, and that's definitely something we can't really risk when we're dealing with an autoflower. Another thing that I've ran into in the past and that I think needs to be known for people growing autoflowers, especially those more finicky ones, would be the nutrient requirements. Now oftentimes overfeeding these seems to be a little easier. Once that plant flips into flower, it's in flower, and at that point you can continue your veg nutrients, but too much nitrogen is not going to be good for your plant. At that point you're going to drop your nitrogen back, and if you're using synthetic nutrients, you can do that, but if you're utilizing an organic soil that may be too nutrient rich, that plant may not thrive as much as you'd like. Now starting off with a lighter, lower nutrient dosage and then increasing your way up gradually, that's definitely going to be more ideal. When you're looking to do crop steering with synthetic nutrients, you can really dial things in and taper off when you're getting into flower, but sometimes that cultivar is just too sensitive to some of that feeding. Now the issue with new beginners potentially is they may run into underfeeding. Trying to make sure that they dial in their NPK and they're not overfeeding their plant is definitely going to be important, but knowing that that rapid growth is going to be a factor, you're going to need to feed it pretty consistently and maintain a proper nutrient regimen. We got videos that cover that on CLtv, but if you need that little extra boost, a little extra something that you're missing in your nutrient regimen, I highly recommend Stash Blend. It's a product me and the boys from the Stash came together with Growers House, and it literally has been that missing component for me when it comes to my organic super soils. Oftentimes when you're growing organically versus synthetic, it will be a little bit more difficult to overfeed or burn your plant, but it definitely is possible. With Autoflowers, you got to dial this in because again, that window of veg time is limited. So what you're going to be feeding it then versus flower, it can vary. Making sure you keep an eye on that transitional point is crucial. Now, the next thing for me has probably been maybe subjective, but I've yet to really come across anything that I've loved with Autoflowers. Everything's been decent smoke, but it hasn't been anything crazy. But when there has been anything good, I haven't been able to clone it. Being able to have propagation when it comes to Autoflowers is definitely something that sucks. You're not going to be able to clone the plant and have autoflower traits pass from the parent to the offspring. Now you may be able to get a clone to grow, and I've seen that happen as well, but I've not seen good results. Now if you've had good results, drop below in the comment section, let me know. I totally will stand corrected, but I tried cloning some before and I didn't have them flip into flower automatically. They just never flowered. I had to manually do it, and when I did, the buds were like a joke. So again, it seems like those ruderalis traits don't transfer, so maintaining a cultivar that is quality is going to be tough. So you're going to have to continuously go through multiple seeds until you find something you like, and then you're going to have to go through more seeds to hope you find that same one again. Genetic stability is definitely a crucial factor. It seems like with the autoflower game, which is still relatively new, we haven't really found those yet. And again, that's just me speaking subjectively from my personal experience. Let me know below in the comment section if I'm wrong on this, because we all have our own opinion, and usually that's based on our own personal experience. Now, in my opinion, autoflowers definitely serve a purpose in a grow. It doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing, you may find a dank autoflower. Now, are they for everybody? Nothing's for everybody. You know, obviously people have their niche and they have their hobbies and their passions and their specialties. Overall, autoflowers have come a long way, and I really do see them being something that's viable for a lot of growers, whether it be new growers or experienced growers. But when it comes to genetics, you don't want to knock them before you try them. And I will admit that in the past, I've been somebody who has downed autoflowers because I had some bad experiences. Now, since then, I've had plenty of good ones and haven't necessarily found ones that I've loved to smoke, but I've found some great growers. And at the end of the day, everybody's gonna have their own preference. If you agree, do me a favor, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and of course, stay lifted. Peace.